listening to Keep Sports News. Hey, pro wrestling fans, that's right. Welcome to another special edition of KSN. That's right. Happy WrestleMania weekend. Oh yeah. You hear this music? Yes. This was the theme music for WrestleMania's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yep. The early years of WrestleMania. It's a cool theme music. And this theme music, I saw a video on Twitter or X, and it was showing the logo, the WrestleMania logo evolution. Because every year, WrestleMania has its own logo. So as you can see behind me, if you're watching the video on this little TV, this is the first WrestleMania logo. And, in fact, this is a YouTube video. And it's going to play the evolution of the logos in order. Alright? And then it's going to play the locations of each WrestleMania, and then all of the WrestleMania posters. That's right. 1 to 40 or 41. Alright? Yeah. The past 40 years. WrestleMania 1 was 4 years, or excuse me, yes, WrestleMania 1 was 40 years ago. That's crazy. 40 years ago was the very first WrestleMania, and I watched it. I actually watched it last year, but I rewatched the main event of WrestleMania 1. So, let's get into business, shall we? So I'm going to play this. It's about an 8-minute video, but it's going to play on loop. Alright, so, see how this goes. This is something that I thought of. Alright? Before I talk about this year's WrestleMania, I just want to say the last episode was the longest episode ever in the history of KSN, where I told you a story on how I got into the WWE. Yes, I told you guys the full story, and I break it down detail by detail the best I could, and I didn't thought that story or that video would be that long. But I wasn't in no rush. You know, I was trying to, sit back and relax and tell you my story, But, it was quite a lot, 2 hours. That episode was 2 hours. Didn't thought it would be that long. I thought it would be like maybe 1 hour the most, but nope. So, if you listen to that whole episode, thank you very much. That means you are a big fan of this channel and pro wrestling. That's awesome. But man, I don't know if I'll ever do another super long episode like that. My plan or my goal is to do episodes all year for the rest of this year, and by the time we'll see how that goes throughout this year, and by the time we get to the end of this year, I'll decide if I want to keep doing it next year. So far, I think it's working. I think it's going okay. And yeah, here we are, WrestleMania weekend, okay? So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. And I'm going to preview, go through the matches, and give you my predictions. Alright, there's the logo. This year's logo, WrestleMania in Vegas, and now it's showing you each venue where every WrestleMania was held at. So, before I talk about this year's WrestleMania, I got 2 shirts I want to show you. In the last episode, the longest episode ever, I was wearing my first ever WWE shirt, and then over the years I got some more. So, excuse me, I'm going to show you 2 more that I have. This one, that's right. This is the old WWE logo. Yep. It's the old scratch logo that everyone liked. Yeah, mainly the ruthless aggression era. That is one of the best logos ever. It would be cool. It would be awesome if they can somehow bring that back. You know, oh look, see, look, it went from WWF to WWE. That was the change that they had to make, and it was basically going from one era to another. Attitude Era, WWF logo, Ruthless Aggression Era with the old WWE scratch logo. And the second shirt I got, I think I have wore this before in an episode, but here it is. That's right. WrestleMania. Oh yeah. I got this shirt, believe it or not, at Kohl's, the clothing store. Kohl's, that's right. This is awesome. This is WrestleMania, the golden era, with these wrestlers in the early years of WrestleMania. And I know all these guys, so I'll name them for you. Trying to hold the shirt. Yeah, I know I'm blocking the TV, but that's okay. The video is gonna play again on loop. All right. So if you're watching, that is the Ultimate Warrior, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, Macho Man Randy Savage, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, Bret Hart. Bret the Hitman Hart. And, yeah. Those guys were from the golden era. And, of course, now it's showing the, as you can see, the WrestleMania posters. Hulk Hogan was in a lot of the early WrestleManias. And, yeah, man, just seeing the evolution of WrestleMania. And don't know if I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode because it's 2 hours, but I'll say it anyways. Every year, I watch a lot of old WrestleMania matches during WrestleMania season, and I've been doing that. The first year I started doing that was back in 2019, but I didn't watch that much old wrestling back then like I do now. Yeah, I remember 2019, the first time ever I watched the main event of WrestleMania 28 between John Cena and The Rock in Miami, Florida. Yeah, so. And then over the years, I watched more old WrestleMania matches, and then I watched old WrestleMania events. Yeah, and now I've seen at least one match from every WrestleMania. That's crazy. All 40 WrestleManias, you know. So, yeah, it's crazy. And then, because if you're a WWE fan, their YouTube channel, man, they would upload a lot of full matches. And then this past year, WWE made another YouTube channel called WWE Vault, where they upload just classic old matches, behind the scenes, old shows that used to be on WWE Network, old documentaries. I mean, that is just fantastic. Oh my goodness. So yeah, up there it is, WrestleMania 41, and that is what I'll be talking about, giving you my predictions and all that good stuff. So, oh, that was the end. Now it's going to go back to this, playing the video on loop. So, yeah, WrestleMania season. You know, WrestleMania could have been last weekend. It's weird because, you know, recent years, WrestleMania is usually on the first weekend of April. And for the first time ever, WrestleMania is on Easter Sunday. Yeah. WrestleMania has never been on an Easter Sunday. And I don't know why. That's kind of strange. That now that, you know, 40 years, after 40 WrestleManias, we're finally having a WrestleMania on Easter weekend, Easter Sunday. You know, I don't know why I guess they never wanted it to have it on Easter Sunday until this year. I don't know why. Maybe I know why. Vince McMahon. Yeah, Vince McMahon's no longer running the product, you know. So that might be the reason why. Ever since he's no longer in charge, Paul Levesque, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H is making changes, and they're working out. So I guess he wanted to make history by having a WrestleMania on Easter Sunday. And I guess it's no longer going to be on the first weekend of April because WrestleMania has been 2 nights for the past couple of years, right? Well, the first Saturday of April, it's usually the March Madness Final Four. And this year was the biggest Final Four ever because the 4 best teams were all in the Final Four and the ratings were huge. So that was smart. They didn't want to compete with that. But then the following weekend, which was last weekend, what was going on? What big events were going on? The only big event was the Masters, golf, the biggest golf tournament of the year, but that's during the afternoon, the daytime. WrestleMania is during the evening, you know? So I don't know what was going on during the evening. I mean, I know it's just, you know, another day, another night for the MLB, NBA, and NHL. I know the NBA and NHL regular seasons were coming to an end, but that was really it. And then this weekend, the NBA and NHL playoffs have begun, so I don't know. But this is another weird thing about this WrestleMania is that this is the latest date ever. The latest date ever in WrestleMania history. You know, back in the old days, WrestleMania was on the last Sunday of March. And then for many years, and then, for many years as well, it was on the first Sunday of April, back when it was just on one night, Sunday night, Yeah. And it's interesting, let's say Easter was on the first Sunday of April, which it has been quite a bit of times in my lifetime, then WrestleMania would be either on the last Sunday of March or the second Sunday in April. And that happened in 2018. Easter was on April Fool's Day in 2018, April 1st. So WrestleMania was on April 8th that year, the following Sunday, okay? And there has been WrestleManias that were on April 1st before, but those were not on Easter Sunday. So this WrestleMania 34 in 2018 was, was the week after Easter, It's interesting. Speaking of 34, this is episode 34, so I guess that's perfect. My very first WrestleMania that I watched was WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. And next year, they will be hosting it again. And I am going to try to go to that. And it's weird because next year's WrestleMania, it's on the second weekend of April. This year's WrestleMania, it's on the third weekend of April. I guess Vegas, for some reason, Vegas didn't want to have it on the second weekend of April. I don't know why, because WWE would schedule the dates for WrestleMania a year in advance, and they already did that for next year's in New Orleans. It's basically on the second weekend of April. So WrestleMania could have been last weekend, in my opinion. But part of me is glad that it wasn't last weekend, so I can, be more ready for this year's. All right. So, WrestleMania 41. All right. The question is, will I tune in at all? Yes, I will. Yep, I will watch some matches. However, I'm not going to watch the event live because I'm not going to watch every single match on for WrestleMania. I'm not a huge fan of today's product, but there are certain matches that I look forward to checking out. So I'm going to wait. I'll watch these matches late at night. I'll do, night one, Saturday night. Very late Saturday night, and then I'll do the same thing for night two for late Sunday night. Okay. I would just wait until the show goes off the air on Peacock so that Peacock can process their show and, make it like on demand. So, WrestleMania, I believe they have a kickoff show, a pre-show, like a 2-hour pre-show before the actual event starts. I think the pre-show starts at 5 p.m. Central, and I think the main card matches, the actual WrestleMania event itself, I think it starts at 7 p.m. Or I could be wrong. It might be an hour earlier. Because I checked to see on Peacock how long the past couple of WrestleManias were, because it's on 2 nights. Last year's WrestleMania, night 1 was longer than night 2. Night 1 was like a little over 4 hours, and night 2 was a little under 4 hours. But that's perfect, Split it into 2 nights. Otherwise, if this was all in one night, it would be like over 8 hours. And back in the old days, WrestleMania would be about 4 hours, a little under, like 3 hours 45 minutes, 3 hours 50 minutes. And that was, on Sunday night, just one night. But back then, every match really meant something. I can't say the same thing with today's product, or ever since they have WrestleMania in 2 nights. At first I didn't like that, permanently having WrestleMania on 2 nights, but now I guess I kind of like it in a way because I'm used to it. But now SummerSlam is in, I think, early August. They're having it as a 2-night event as well. And I'm like, what the heck? And SummerSlam is also in stadium. So it's like you can call SummerSlam WrestleMania 2.0 or something like that. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get right into the matchups. So you guys, I mentioned this in the last episode. There's 3 wrestling podcasts that I love listening to. 2 of them on YouTube, Rosenberg Wrestling and Not Sam Wrestling. They're good friends. And then, of course, the best wrestling talk show ever, Busted Open on Sirius XM. And the way I mainly listen to that show, Busted Open, Dave LaGreca, the older or the younger brother of Don LaGreca, you know, um, Dave LaGreca would be joined by former WWE wrestlers and current, but mainly wrestlers such as Bully Ray, Mark Henry, Tommy Dreamer. They're all retired. So I like listening to that show, especially during this time of the year because we are at WrestleMania weekend. And they would break down the matches. They would mainly talk about the big matches. And it's just the way they talk about it. It makes you want to watch that match. And that's what happened to me. So I'm going to go through all the matches. And I'm going to tell you which matches that I will watch. All right? Okay, first of all, the WrestleMania 41 poster. It's on my phone. You see that? Not a fan. Not a fan of this WrestleMania poster. I think it's because they have the Cody Rhodes and John Cena names on it. I don't really like that. I mean, I like the colors and the font, but why is that on the poster? And you got John Cena wearing a hat. I know that's the main event, the very last match, but not really a fan of that poster. Go look at last year's poster, WrestleMania 40. That's much better because they had 4 guys on it. This poster could have had 3 more guys from the triple threat match, the main event of night number 1 between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. I'm surprised those 3 weren't on this poster. I was expecting to have John Cena, Cody Rhodes on one side of the poster, and then on the other side, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. So, yeah, I'm not really a fan of this WrestleMania poster. What I am a fan of, however, I almost forgot to mention this, the WrestleMania 41 stage and setup. Did y'all see that? If you didn't, search it up. WWE, they have their video on that on their YouTube channel. It is awesome. I really like the stage and the setup, the ramp. It looks fantastic. It kind of looks similar to the WrestleMania 39 stage in Hollywood. The bottom part of it kind of looks like similar to SummerSlam's 2008 stage. But I do love it. I really like this stage. Not really a fan of the poster. I love the stage. And here's another thing that I'm not really a fan of, and that is the theme song. Yeah, every WrestleMania has its own theme song. I'm not a fan of this theme song. And I know in today's world, a lot of people listen to rap music. That song is basically a rap song, rap music for WrestleMania 41's theme song. I'm not a fan of rap or hip hop music because I just didn't grow up with that. I'm a big fan of old rock and roll. I got it from my father, so I thank him for that. And back in the old days, pretty much all the wrestling WWE's events didn't have rap music. It would be like hard rock and roll. But now recent years, it's not like that anymore because most people listen to rap music. But if I'm in the mood to listen to music, it's not going to be rap. It's going to be mainly old rock and roll. There's certain bands that I can listen to all day long. And I did that the other day. I listened to this band called Tool because it was the singer's birthday the other day. And I listened to that band, their songs, for 6.5 hours. That's crazy. So, speaking of Tool, quick story on that. I was fortunate enough to see them in concert. I saw them in Houston at the Toyota Center, home of the Houston Rockets. So, yeah, they didn't go to New Orleans, so Houston was the closest city to me, and I have been to Houston before. So, yeah, that was awesome. But anyways, let's get right into WrestleMania 41. I love the stage. It's gonna look fantastic once the wrestlers come out. All right, I'm on the Wikipedia page because I don't know every single match that's on the card. But it says WrestleMania 41, also promoted as WrestleMania Vegas, is an upcoming 2025 professional wrestling event produced by WWE. It will be the 41st annual WrestleMania and will take place as a two-night event on Saturday, April 19 and Sunday, April 20 at Allegiant Stadium in Paradise, Nevada. This will be the second WrestleMania to take place in Las Vegas area after WrestleMania 9 in 1993, which was held at Caesar's Palace. I did watch quite a bit of that WrestleMania. Busted Open. They did an episode of like the worst WrestleManias, and WrestleMania 9. They said WrestleMania 9 was one of the worst WrestleManias ever. I don't know what to say because I didn't watch every single match from WrestleMania 9. I just thought that it looked cool because it was at Caesar's Palace, outdoors. But I'll tell you what I didn't like. The ending of WrestleMania 9. Yeah. Anyways, let's see here. It also says this will be the first WrestleMania to live stream on Netflix in most markets as the platform began a 10-year rights deal with WWE in January 2025. This will be the first WrestleMania during Easter weekend. See, I told you about that. And the first WrestleMania to feature a match with CM Punk since WrestleMania 29 in 2013. Wow, 12 years ago. Yeah, he was supposed to compete at last year's WrestleMania, but he got injured. And unfortunately, someone else got injured where he could not wrestle at WrestleMania. The event will also feature John Cena's final WrestleMania match due to his retirement from professional wrestling at the end of the match. Or excuse me. At the end of 2025. I don't know how to feel, but we'll talk about John Cena once we talk about the main event. Okay, so they officially announced what matches will be on what nights. You got 7 matches on night 1, 7 matches on night 2, total of 14. All right. First one. Okay, well, I don't know if this is any in particular order, but according to Wikipedia, we got Jey Uso versus Gunther, singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso was the Royal Rumble winner, and he chose Gunther. Busted Open, they said that if main event of night number 1 is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, then the main event should be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. Yeah. Oh, wait, I mentioned Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose was part of the Shield. So, that'd be crazy if he comes back. Anyways, this match, Gunther versus Jey Uso, singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Royal Rumble winner. Quite a bit of times, the Royal Rumble winner would win the title at WrestleMania. That has happened quite a bit of times. And if this is the first match of WrestleMania 41, that's what Busted Open would say, because we know that main event night number 1 is the 3-way match instead of Gunther versus Jey Uso. even though when Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, the announcer Michael Cole says that Jey Uso has entered the main event of WrestleMania, and that bothered Dave LaGreca. It's kind of funny that he would mention that. But if this opens up WrestleMania 41, then that's fantastic, you know. That has happened at WrestleMania 35. The first main match was for the Universal Championship. I was happy when Jey Uso won because he eliminated John Cena. I didn't want John Cena to win. So I hope Jey Uso wins. Gunther, however, he looks like he's a very tough wrestler. He looks great with that championship title around his waist, right? Or on his shoulder. But Jey Uso, he never really had a WrestleMania moment. So I hope he wins. And they have fought each other before, but Gunther won. So I guess I'm going to go with Jey Uso. Unless if somehow something happens where Jey Uso won't win. But I'll go with Jey Uso. But because, you know, I like whenever Jey Uso comes out, you know how the crowd they do that yeet stuff. That would be cool to see that happening again at WrestleMania when Jey Uso wins. Okay. Next match, again, I don't know if this is any particular order, but according to Wikipedia, we got the tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships between the War Raiders and the New Day. I remember the War Raiders, but years ago they used to be called the Viking Raiders. They are the tag team champions. They're taking on the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Not Big E. Big E broke his neck like a couple years ago, but Big E, he should be at the pre-show and the post-game show of WrestleMania. I'm going to go with, usually WrestleMania, quite a bit of the title matches does change hand. I'm going to say the War Raiders will retain the World Tag Team Championship. Okay, I forgot to mention these matches. Will I watch them or not? Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. I will watch that. The tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. I don't really care about that, so I'm not going to watch that one. Next, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. That's just crazy. Rey Mysterio is still wrestling at the age of 50, and because of that, I will watch that match to see how an old 50 Rey Mysterio would do in the ring. And it's crazy. Rey Mysterio has a son, and his son is so much bigger than him. Like, what the heck? Anyways, I'll watch that match. I don't even know who El Grande Americano is. Then we got Jade Cargill versus Naomi. I will watch that match as well. Jade Cargill used to be in AEW. She's very strong, crazy looking arms if you look up pictures of her. And, okay, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. I'm going to go with Rey Mysterio. The veteran, the all-time great luchador. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. I think Jade Cargill's going to win because of her very strong, muscular arms. Then we got a singles match for the United States Championship between LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. LA Knight is the current United States champion, and I'm going to go with LA Knight. LA Knight's a pretty cool wrestler. Will I watch it? No, not really interested in that one. Next, we got, this is a very interesting one, the singles match for the Women's Championship between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Tiffany Stratton is currently the Women's Championship, and I gotta say, more than half of the crowd will cheer for her because they are sick of Charlotte Flair always going after the championship title, and I can't blame them. Charlotte won the Royal Rumble. I will watch this match because this is a huge match on the women's side. I kind of want to know what happens if Charlotte Flair wins. Just to steer more drama into the storyline. So I kind of do hope Charlotte Flair wins. But based on that crowd reaction over the past couple of weeks, I think Tiffany's going to win. But I kind of do hope Charlotte wins to see what happens. And then the main event of night number 1 is the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Obviously, I will watch that match as well. So Roman Reigns apparently is no longer with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's reuniting with CM Punk, just like old time's sake. These 3 guys, they were into an argument and they started a fight after they got eliminated in the Royal Rumble this year. So that was kind of weird. But I don't know, a 3-way match, anything can happen, no disqualifications. That's like the best part. So they can use weapons. I don't know. CM Punk, he hasn't wrestled at a WrestleMania in 12 years. He never had a WrestleMania moment. So I hope CM Punk wins. So if he wins, is he going to pin Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, or do the submission? I think he's going to pin Seth Rollins so we can have Roman Reigns versus CM Punk storyline for a while. But someone said, Sam Roberts, he says that Seth Rollins will win and somehow Paul Heyman will become his new agency in 2022. Or excuse me, I can't talk sometimes. Yeah. Anyways, I think I meant to say night number 2. But yeah, I'm going with CM Punk. But I hope CM Punk wins. I got a feeling that Roman's going to win, though, because he lost at last year's WrestleMania. I don't know if the WWE wants Roman to lose back-to-back WrestleManias, but it should be very interesting. I will watch that one. So that is night number 1, guys. So almost all the matches I will check out. Night number 2, we got another triple threat match for, this time, the Women's World Championship between Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Io Sky just won that title not too long ago. Of course, Bianca Belair has her very long ponytail hair. And Rhea Ripley, who had her WrestleMania moment 2 years ago when she beat Charlotte Flair. So I'm not sure who's the face or who's the heel in this, but I will watch this match as well. It's another 3-way match for the Women's World Championship. I think Io Sky's going to win. I feel like she just won the title. She should keep it longer. I think she's going to pin Bianca Belair or make Bianca Belair tap out. So we can have Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. And then maybe we can have Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. I would be totally interested in that. Next, tag team match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They are the women's tag team champs, taking on Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. I don't know who that is, but I'm not interested in that matchup. So I guess Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez will retain the tag team championships. That's my prediction. Next, we got AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. That's an interesting one. AJ Styles is kind of getting older. Logan Paul's still young. The thing is, no one really cares about Logan Paul in the WWE. When he entered at number 30 in the Royal Rumble, people thought it was going to be him. But no, it wasn't him. I'm not really interested in this match, mainly because I'm not a Logan Paul fan, and I never really liked AJ Styles in WWE. Mainly him as a babyface, so I'm probably going to skip that matchup. I'll go with AJ Styles, though. The more experienced wrestler. Next, we got a fatal 4-way match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Wow, that's crazy. The Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker taking on Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. I hope Braun Breaker wins because he looks like a damn savage looking guy. I feel like he should retain. But if not him, I guess No, I was going to say Rey Mysterio. I was going to say Dominic Mysterio. I don't know. I feel like Braun Breaker should retain. If not him, then I guess Dominic Mysterio. But I will watch that match. I'll try to check that out. Next, a Sin City street fight between Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I forgot how this storyline started, but this is interesting. Two big men going at it. Sin City street fight. Oh crap! Don't tell me we're gonna have this show. This event. Okay, street fight. Guys, I'm very tired, so I apologize if I sound like I'm all over the place. Drew McIntyre should win this match, and I do hope he wins. I've always liked Drew McIntyre, so street fight, I think that means no disqualification. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. Oh, then we have Randy Orton versus TBA to be announced. Singles match. This will be an open challenge. Okay, so the original plan was for Randy Orton to fight Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens, unfortunately for him, he's the one that will not be in this year's WrestleMania. That is a shame because I was looking forward to that match as well. Randy Orton against Kevin Owens. Last year they were in a three-way match with Logan Paul. And half of the match, Orton and Owens were teaming up on Logan Paul, so yeah, I brought that match up because I actually just watched that match on their YouTube channel. I saw it on the list and it looked interesting, so I gave it a try, and it was pretty good. I like the ending though. Randy Orton versus to be announced. I don't know. Well, whoever that is, Randy Orton's got to win. Randy Orton needs another WrestleMania moment. It's not WrestleMania without him at this point. He just turned 45 not too long ago, and he looks in fantastic shape. And then, of course, the main event for the undisputed WWE Championship between Cody Rhodes, the champ, against John Cena. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I will watch whoever Randy Orton faced. Who knows? Might be a squash match. Whoever Randy's opponent is. I can't really think of anyone though. Has to be a returning wrestler, right? I mean, that happened a couple years ago. Seth Rollins against TBA at WrestleMania 38. And his opponent was finally chosen at the show, and it was Cody Rhodes, and then Cody won, Anyways, this match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena, it's a very, very weird storyline that they're having. I am looking forward to this, though, but I'm not really hyped up with this matchup, to be honest with you. And it's crazy. It's been just over a year already since last year's WrestleMania. I remember when that happened, that night, WrestleMania 40. Cody Rhodes has been champ ever since, and now he's going to be taking on a future Hall of Famer, John Cena. The thing is, I'm not really I like Cody Rhodes, but I'm not a huge fan of the guy. I do like his theme song. John Cena is looking to make history by becoming a 17-time champion. Therefore, he was going to break Ric Flair's record. So for past couple of years, I didn't want John Cena to win in a championship match because he would be you know, he would break Ric Flair's record, title record, 17. He's tied with Flair. For some reason, people say Ric Flair's he's really a 20-time champion, but for some reason WWE doesn't count 20 of them as 20 or just 16. Do I want John Cena to win? Well, since he is the heel, I actually do. I feel like John Cena has to win this match just so we can have a more of an interesting storyline. Or if he loses, he might leave for a while and come back for SummerSlam. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Um, so I never really liked John Cena that much in the WWE. I'm talking about Cena from the past. The Cena right now, I do kind of like him in a way because he's a heel. He no longer sprints to the ring. However, I thought it looked like he was losing his hair and eventually go bald, but that didn't happen. Yeah. So part of me wants John Cena to win just to see what happens. But my problem with Cena, if he wins, he's going to break Ric Flair's title record, and I don't want that to happen. But if Cody Rhodes wins, I'll be fine with that as well. I feel like something crazy is going to happen during that match. What about The Rock? Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Will he show up? I mean, he was at the Elimination Chamber with Travis Scott. Yeah, people still don't understand why Travis Scott was there, but um, I must say John Cena's going to win. And we'll see what happens when he wins title number 17. Oh, man. Okay, so I hope John Cena wins, but if he breaks Ric Flair's record, I'm not going to get mad about it, but I wouldn't mind if he's like going for, tying Ric Flair's record, but no. Anyways, Cody Rhodes, he had his moment last year. Maybe it's Cena's time to get one more WrestleMania moment. I do want to know what happens if John Cena wins that championship. Will he get booed out of the arena? Just like the same for Charlotte Flair. They'll boo her even more if she wins. Charlotte Flair winning that title. I don't know, man. I guess I'll go with Cena. I guess I will go with John Cena. But I will watch that match, and that's it. So for night number 1, I will watch Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Jade Cargo versus Naomi. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, and the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. I'm watching 5 out of the 7 matches in night number 1. That's great. Night number 2, I will watch the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship between Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. The Fatal 4-Way match for the Intercontinental Championship between Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Sin City Street Fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton versus to be announced. And of course, John Cena against Cody Rhodes. So, same thing. I'm going to be watching 5 out of the 7 matches. So, there's 14 matches total. Looks like I'll be watching 10 out of 14 matches, which I don't. I didn't watch much. It's crazy. 10? I'm going to be watching 10 of these matches just because I find them interesting. Last year, I watched nowhere near 10. Let me see how many I watched last year. Let's see. Last year, I watched. I'm scrolling down to see if I remember any of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There was a Money in the Bank cash in. 5, 6. Last year I watched 6 matches. This year I'm going to be watching 10. Yeah. And the year before last year, WrestleMania 39, I watched even less matches. Same with WrestleMania 38. I only watched like 2 matches for WrestleMania 38. WrestleMania 39, I watched a little more matches. And then 40, even more. And then 41, almost all of the matches. Wow. I'm watching quite a bit of the matches now. I normally don't watch it that much. It would be like 1 or a couple of them, but 10 of them? Wow. See, that just shows you, in my opinion, the WWE is getting better because no more Vince. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it. I'm not going to watch it live. I'll wait until after it goes off the air. And I don't even have to watch all of Saturday's matches on Saturday night. I can watch some of them on Saturday and some of them during Sunday afternoon while I wait for night number 2. Okay? So I'll be back on Tuesday. It's not going to be Monday. I'm going to wait until Tuesday because I want to hear the 3 wrestling podcasts that I listen to pretty much every week during this season. I want to hear what those guys have to say first, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, and then basically the next episode will be another pro wrestling talk where I talk about the aftermath of WrestleMania 41, and then the episode after that, which is next Friday, we will go back to our normally sports talk routine. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty much all I'm watching in terms of the big events, WrestleMania. Not going to be watching any sports, just WrestleMania. Okay? All right. The match that I'm looking forward to the most, I mean, the 2 main events, obviously. Since I'm not a big fan of today's product, why not root for drama? Like if Charlotte Flair wins the title, she's gonna get booed so much. If John Cena wins, I don't know if I can say the same thing for him. What if half of the crowd cheers for Cena and half of the crowd cheers for Cody? That might happen, but I don't know. See, if John Cena wins that title, not only he's gonna break Ric Flair's record, but is he gonna keep that title for the rest of the year? I don't know. And then what's next for Cody? What if The Rock helps John Cena win that championship? Holy crap. Yep. I can already say I believe this year's WrestleMania is better than last year's. No matter what the outcome of these matches are. Plus, this year's WrestleMania has a much better stage than last year's. So I think WWE is getting better. I think it's going in the right direction. And next year, WrestleMania will be in New Orleans. And I am going to try to go to that. Yes, with my brothers. So, all right, guys. I am looking forward to this. The time has come. It is weird. Like I said, it's on the 3rd weekend of April, but I didn't mind waiting an extra couple of weeks since I'm not a big fan of today's product anyway. Who knows? Maybe if the WWE keeps getting better for the next couple of years, maybe I will come. Maybe I might come back full time, like I used to when I told you my story. But yeah, guys. So that is it. I'm very tired. I'm actually recording this very early on Saturday morning, which you will see this Saturday late morning, early afternoon. Whew. Vegas, baby. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Thank you for listening. Enjoy WrestleMania 41. Let me know if you have enough time to give me your predictions, if anyone is listening anyways. Till then, I will see you guys on Tuesday where I recap what happened at WrestleMania 41. Have a great weekend and happy Easter as well. See ya. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Keith Sports News.